But what if something happens? We need that boat in case of an emergency. Who needs a boat when I can just ride him? Hello, and welcome to My Husband is a Stranger. This is a Yandere dating sim in which you are stranded on an island with your loving and devoted husband. But after a fight, he disappears. And when he returns, he's acting very differently. And now you're worried he might not be the same man that you married. Let's get started. What is your first name? Yinny. What is your last name? Winters, which is what I always use. I love the skin color slider so much. Look at it. I'm an omnivore. I'm allosexual. In this game, you play as a novelist. What is the title of your time-traveling fantasy novel? We'll just stick with moon crossing, I think. It's such a nice feature. My husband left me. Oh, well, damn. Oh man, I guess it's over. The cold early morning light drifts through the windows as I wander between the rooms like a ghost, searching for that familiar mop of blonde hair. Normally he's awake far before me. When I wake up, I'll find him in the kitchen, putting on the kettle for tea and preparing breakfast. What a way to start, huh? He's already gone. I look in the kitchen. I look in the guest bedroom. In the bathroom. In the living room. I even search the storage as if I'll find him hiding among the boxes. But Morgan is nowhere to be found. Of course he left me. I wonder why he didn't leave me sooner. I cough, the air scraping painfully along the insides of my throat. I rub my neck to soothe some of the ache. My mouth is swimming with the taste of salt and acid, as if I just vomited up a bucket of seawater. The echoes of our argument from last night still sting my ears. He never raises his voice. His tone is usually calm, conciliatory, and vaguely sympathetic. If he does end up saying something that is overly pointed, he instantly deflates, as if the jagged edges of his words slice through his own skin, his anger dribbling out through torn flesh. So I was shocked when he yelled at me. This is enough. We're not staying on this island. The isolation, the memories, everything about this place is rotting you from inside out. I've held my tongue. I've waited for you to heal in your own time, but I can't watch you do this to yourself. As soon as the storm clears up, we are leaving. Aw, that's so sad. I can't remember what happened after that. The rage and the despair and the alcohol all churned in my brain like a particularly bloody cocktail. One minute I was screaming. The next I was waking up on the couch with a throbbing head and a raw throat. I vaguely recall throwing something at him. A book? A glass? I look around but I can't find anything out of place. Just a half-full mug of tea lying on the table, creamy with milk. Morgan must have cleaned up. He's always so diligent about that. He wasn't like that in the past. His college dorm room was a whirlwind of textbooks, laundry, watercolor paints, and pencil doodles strewn everywhere like fallen leaves. But ever since we moved in together, he took on the responsibility of leaving everything as neat and tidy as the cover of an interior design magazine. Still, I wonder why he didn't toss out the tea. I wander around the living area. Not sure what I should do. Should I continue searching for him? There's no point. I already know he's gone. Should I look to see if he left me a note? But I don't see one. He would have left it in the visible place if he was going to leave one. Should I make breakfast for myself and continue on my day as if nothing happened? I can't do that. The thought of sitting at the kitchen table alone makes me feel indescribably hollow. Oh, that's right. The boat. We usually keep a small motorboat tethered to the dock to make trips back to the mainland. If Morgan left, then the boat will be gone. The ground outside has turned from a well-worn trail into a muddy mess, courtesy of the storm last night. Dirt clings to my shoes as I make my way down to the shore. I pause at the top of the hill overlooking the coastline. I sweep my gaze to and fro. Once, twice, 3 times. There's nothing. No small white boat anywhere in sight. Just a vast, empty expanse of grey water. I lower my face, rubbing my sleeves across my eyes as I try my best not to crumble. That hollow, aching loneliness is wrapping its arms around me now, threatening to drown me. But then I see him. Someone standing on the shoreline. A tall figure with pale blonde hair wearing a white shirt and a pair of dark pants. I nearly trip over my shoes as I scramble down the hill towards the man. I sprint across the beach, soggy sand flying like confetti in my wake. Morgan! He looks up. He's so pretty though. I know you might not be my husband anymore, or you still might be and maybe I'm the one who has issues, but you're so pretty. The damp strands of his bangs frame his pale face. The cold ocean spray has drained all the color from his skin. I'll drain something else from him, all right. He looks like a mess. Still, a warm relief floods my chest. I hadn't realized how badly I wanted to see him. Morgan didn't leave. I speak, trying to calm my trembling voice. What happened? Why are you out here? You're so wet. Same. I mean, what? I reach out to touch his shirt, and a shiver runs through my arm. You're freezing. Oh. Morgan raises his arm, examining the way his sleeve clings to his skin with mild interest. It's as if he just realized he's soaking wet. I wanted to take a walk to clear my head, but I got surprised by a wave and fell over. Oh, poor baby. Even though he might not be my husband. He tries to brush the rocky sand from the seat of his pants to no avail. The man gazes at me with a soft look in his eyes. He lifts his arm and caresses my cheek. His touch is light as a feather, as if he's making sure that I'm truly standing in front of him and not a ghost playing tricks. And then his hand travels downward, tickling the underside of my chin. Suddenly he doubles over, clutching his chest. Are you alright? I'm okay. I'm just feeling a little cold, that's all. Yeah, it's totally not something, reacting with a certain entity. His raspy, hoarse voice doesn't relieve my worries. Offer him your jacket. I want to be nice to him this time. I want to be nice. Yeah, take my jacket. I start to unbutton my jacket, but Morgan puts a hand up. It's alright. I'll just get it dirty. I should go inside and take a shower anyway. Oh, okay. You have to be more careful. What would you have done if you were swept out to sea without me to watch you? Although Morgan loves frolicking in the shallows, he sinks like a stone if he goes too deep. Hey, same! On the other hand, I'm a skilled swimmer. I always tell him not to venture too far in the water if I'm not around. My husband smiles. Aw, what a radiant smile. Everything is alright in the world. Are you worried about me? Of course. My throat feels hollow. And for some reason, my heart hurts even more than before. Hug him, plant my face in his boobies. I step forward and wrap my arms around my husband. It's not a pleasant hug. He's cold and wet. His skin's still slick from seawater. Slick. And he doesn't have his usual scent, like freshly laundered sheets on a summer afternoon. Instead, when I breathe in, all I can sense is salt and seaweed. Still, I squeeze him as tightly as I can. I always squeeze him tightly. He feels safe. He feels like home. When I finally let go and step back, I brush some sand from the front of my jacket, scanning the shoreline. By the way, where's the boat? The boat? The motorboat? The one that we keep right here, it's gone. I gesture emphatically towards the dock, where the obviously empty spot where the boat should have been. You're right, it's gone. He doesn't seem to be bothered by the slightest. At best, he sounds mildly surprised. Morgan, this is a big problem. That boat's our only way back to the mainland. Did it wash away in the storm? But the rope should have been strong enough for any weather. I forgot a lot of things that my grandfather lectured me about, but I never forgot the knots that he taught me. It must have. He shrugs. Morgan, why is he acting this way? Admittedly, I'm usually the worrywart between the two of us, but still, my husband isn't careless. These things happen. There's not much that we can do about it now. No use worrying. It's not as if we're planning on leaving anytime soon anyway. That's not right. That's not what you said last night. You said that you wanted to leave as soon as the storm cleared up. It's just for a brief moment, but I could swear I see irritation flashing across my husband's features. However, after I blink, that emotion is gone, replaced by guilt. Suspicious. Right. I was a little heated. I was just saying things, I didn't mean it. You want to finish your next book, right? We can stay as long as you want. But what if something happens? We need that boat in case of an emergency. What if one of us gets hurt or sick? Who needs a boat when I can just ride him? Well, if you're worried, I'll call and see if someone saw the boat. Maybe we can get someone to come out and bring us a new one. Alright. Morgan's brow furrows as he looks down. I'm sorry for all the things I said last night. I shouldn't have tried to force you. Your grief is your own. I shouldn't have asked you to cope with it in my way. Thank you. I'm not sure if Morgan really means it, or if he's just saying this to make me feel better, but I thank him anyway. I understand that he means well. What made you change your mind? Nothing much. After I had time to think over what I had said and how you must have felt, I realized how much I had hurt you. He reaches out and squeezes my hand. You're the most important person in the world to me. My family. My heart clenches in my chest. We met during our sophomore year of high school and started dating not long after. A few months later, my husband opened up to me about his family life. His mother had struggled with substance abuse and lost custody of him multiple times. She died from an overdose when he was in elementary school. And after that, he was put into foster care. After bouncing around several foster homes in his youth, he ended up being adopted by a decent upper-middle-class family. While his relationship with them is good, he told me that he always felt a little disconnected from his parents compared to their biological children. Sometimes it feels like I'm not a real part of the family, he said. He took it back almost immediately, his face brimming with guilt. They gave him a wonderful home after all. Still, no matter how much he denied it, I knew that it was true. We stayed together through college and got married less than a year after we graduated. That night after the ceremony, he hugged me tight and whispered, "We're a family now." Man, I'm so sad. My husband genuinely sounds like a really nice person. What happened? I was Morgan's family. Not the family that he was placed with. Not the family that neglected him. No, I was the family that he chose. The memory aches like an old wound. Morgan trusted me. He called me his family. I should have made him happy. Should have made him feel loved and accepted in all the ways that he didn't before. Instead, I just made him miserable. As he speaks, My husband's fingers feel uncomfortably cool and moist in my own. You're my family, and yet I didn't treat you like that. That's not true. I know he tries every day to make me feel like the most precious person in the entire world, that he's always thinking of me in ways to make me feel happy. And I never felt unimportant or unloved. I want to say this. I want to say all of this, but all that escapes my lips is a hollow. It's okay. When we go back to the cottage, we both make sure to shed our sandy shoes outside. Morgan, who's still dripping wet, waits in the entrance while I fetch him a towel. I urge him to take a warm bath. In the meantime, I get out the ingredients for breakfast. My husband's usually the one in charge of the meals and most of the other household chores, but I want to have a hot meal ready for when he comes out. However, the smell of the food makes me unexpectedly ill. I lean on the counter trying to calm the sickening feeling in my stomach and my throbbing headache. You're still feeling sick. My husband comes up from behind me and brushes my cheek with the back of his fingers, feeling the cold sweat. He must have toweled it off, but his hair is still damp from the bath. Still sick? Yeah. After dinner last night, you started vomiting in your bedroom. I helped you clean up, then I brought you down to the couch to rest. I did? As the memories trickle back into my mind, I just feel sicker. The sludge of horror and guilt at my own actions makes my head spin. I can't believe that I did something so foolish. So dangerous. Another pang of nausea washes over me like a tidal wave. Why don't you lie down on the couch? I know you probably want to get back to your writing, but I'd rather be close in case something happens. The burning sensation in the pit of my stomach stops me from protesting. If I start choking on my own vomit, then it would be better to be somewhere Morgan can keep an eye on me. I lie on the couch obediently, putting up no resistance as Morgan props my head on one of the cushions and drapes a knit blanket over me. He disappears into the kitchen. And a few minutes later, I hear the familiar trickle of water into a cup. He reappears, cradling a mug, soft billows of steam wafting from the tea inside. He seems so sweet. I love him. Yeah. Ginger tea with some honey. I take a sip. The warm, spicy liquid soothes my aching throat. After draining half the cup, I hold it up, squinting at it. It's a hand-painted ceramic mug with a dark blue base, haphazardly dotted with purple and white squiggles. This is your mug. Where's mine? Discomfort paints his features. It broke during our fight. Don't you remember? I searched my memories of last night. I picked up the mug, my fingers encircling the smooth ceramic handle, and I threw it. I threw it at you. Morgan dons an expression that's halfway between a grimace and a smile. I feel so bad. Yeah. I remember when we first made those mugs. We dropped by a paint-your-own pottery studio on a whim when we were in high school, right after we started dating. We agreed to exchange our handiwork. Morgan painted a colorful medley of flowers, lilies and tulips and daisies and roses. I tried my best to paint sea lavender, but it ended up looking more like purple and white seaweed. Still, Morgan was overjoyed. He was simply happy that I remembered his favorite flower. We've used those mugs for over 10 years. They were one of our first precious memories together. Oh no, this is hurting my feelings. Tears burn in the corners of my eyes. I can see the shattered mangled remnants of Morgan's carefully painted flowers. This is really upsetting. I'm sad. Sensing my distress, my husband puts an arm around my shoulder. He draws me close and presses his lips against my forehead. His skin's soft and cool. Don't worry, we can make a new set. I've gotten better. I'll paint you a nicer one next time. After finishing the tea, we talk for a little while longer before Morgan decides to attend some chores. My head is still reeling with pain, so I decide to do some light reading. I go to the bookshelf and pick horror comedy, dark fantasy, collection of folk tales. Ooh. I pick up the dark green book. It's well worn and frayed along the edges. It used to be one of my favorite childhood books. I frequently bury my nose between the pages on rainy afternoons. I wonder if this is gonna get sadder and sadder, because I'm a little worried. I settle on the couch and start to read. A young man who has just reached 16 years of age falls in love with a young woman, but the young woman is poor, so his family forbids them to wed. They run off together, throwing themselves into the sea. So if they can't be together in life, then at least they can be together in death. Oh, I do remember this folk tale. I know the story well. Grandpa always told me that after they died, the tragic pair cursed this region. There are at least a dozen cases of couples dying tragically in these parts. Between the lines, read an interesting book. There's achievements. I'm gonna move myself down. I yawn before turning the page. I'm scared. My eyes flutter open, blurry and unfocused. My body is stiff from sleep. The book has been returned to the coffee table, with my bookmark peeking out from between the pages. My head has been propped up on a pillow too, judging from the fading light, tracing harsh shadows in the living room. It must be late afternoon or early evening. When he hears the creak of the couch, he looks so cute. Look, he's so excited to see us. My husband comes from the kitchen and peers down at me. A comforting, savory aroma clings to his clothes. I will cling to him. I made some soup. Do you think you can eat it? I get up on my elbows, rubbing sleep from my eyes, and nod. As I sit up, Morgan refolds the blanket and lays it over my legs. He passes me a tray with a bowl and spoon. The white soup contains chunks of pale yellow potatoes, chopped green herbs, and flakes of smoked fish. The rich, comforting scent hangs in the air. I press the palm over my stomach to try and stop it from gurgling. I haven't eaten since last night, almost a full day ago. The creamy savouriness of the soup warms me from the inside out, soothing my raw throat and my jumpy stomach. When is he gonna warm me from inside out? The subtle sweetness from the onion mingles with the rich smokiness from the fish. That sounds so good. I don't recognize this dish. When Morgan makes potato soup, he usually adds leeks and thyme, pureeing it until it's smooth as silk. That kind is delicious too. His cooking always is, but I like the varied textures of this new version. I sip the pale liquid before taking a bite of soft potato. Is it good? I nod, taking another bite. I hadn't realized how empty my stomach was until now. As soon as I chew one spoonful, I find myself reaching for another. Before I know it, the bowl is half empty. Hey, eat a little. I erupt into a fit of coughs. Some of the potatoes went down the wrong way. Morgan takes the bowl and puts it on the side table before caressing my back. He continues rubbing gentle circles until I stop coughing. I lean into the crook of his neck. Even though he took a bath a while ago, he still smells faintly of salt water. Are you still angry at me? Morgan, are you still angry at me? Angry? I was never angry at you. I must have misunderstood then. You never talked to me like that before, so you seemed angry. I guess I was frustrated, but not with you. I was just frustrated with the situation, that's all. And with myself knowing that I couldn't do anything to help you. My husband takes the empty bowl back to the sink. He ushers me to continue sitting when I try and stand and help. However, as I sit, a sharp pain sears through my intestines, sending a shiver of nausea through my body. I shudder and clap my hand over my mouth. As soon as he sees that, my husband rushes back to my side and reaches for the bucket he had left by the couch. He supports my head as I vomit half-digested potatoes splattering into the bottom. When my stomach is finally empty, Morgan hands me a paper towel to wipe my mouth. I'm sorry. I should have known you shouldn't eat anything. I shake my head, the acid lingering on my tongue. No, I just ate too much. It's not your fault. My eyes follow him as he walks back to the kitchen, watching as he disposes of the vomit and searches for the bleach to sterilize the bucket. I hate this. I hate having my husband to see me like this, so frail and weak. I know that tired old wisdom, that you should marry someone who will stay at you through thick and thin. Someone who'll love you at your worst. It's even a part of traditional Christian wedding vows. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. I don't feel like that about Morgan. Not because I don't love him, the opposite in fact. I do love him. I love him more than anyone, so I only want him to see the best side of me. Loving me should be easy and fun and effortless like living on clouds. I don't want him to have to clean up my vomit. I don't want him to regret marrying me. After I brush my teeth and change my clothes, I lie back down on the couch. My body stiffens when my husband sits next to me. He sets a nearly clean puke bucket on the ground. I'm sorry that you had to clean all that up. My small voice is made all the smaller by my embarrassment. This reminds me of that one time I got sick in Japan and I spent the whole night like vomiting. It was my first time getting food poisoning. It was the worst night of my life and I was like lying in bed just like delirious and like absolutely awful. And Jared just like sat by my bedside the whole night just watching over me to make sure I could sleep and like made sure I needed like a bucket or like anything. And then he like ran out at 4 AM to get like tummy medicine and like porridge for me to eat. It was really nice. My small voice is made all the more smaller by my embarrassment. Don't apologize. I'm happy to do... well, I guess happy isn't the right way to put it. But the fact that I can be here to help you, that genuinely makes me happy. When you're up there all alone in your room, I get worried, you know? What do you mean? It's not as if I'm gonna keel over at any moment. It's not that. He has that lost hazy look in his eye again, as if he's gazing at something he can't see. I don't know how to explain it exactly. Even if I know you're just upstairs, it feels like I don't really know that you're there. Sometimes I think that I'll open the door and the room will be empty. When he sees my confused expression, he sighs and strokes a hand through his hair. It's like you're floating on a boat in the middle of the sea, and I'm standing on the shore facing away. I can feel you drifting away. Every moment I can't see you. I can sense the ocean taking you farther away from me. And finally, when I turn around, I'll find that you're just gone. Swept away to another island or drowned, I don't know. You'll just be gone. That scares me a lot. I get it. I understand. I'm sorry for making you feel that way, for worrying you so much. He looks into my eyes, searching for something there. Then he presses his lips against my forehead. Well, it doesn't really matter. Regardless, I like having you here where I can touch you, where I can hold you in my arms. I also like touching you as well. In more ways than one. Knowing you're here with me, it's reassuring. I lean closer, reaching down to stroke the bracelet on his left arm. Oh, it's not a particularly gaudy accessory. A slim navy blue rope coils around his wrist. The ends are strung together with a shining silver clasp shaped like an anchor. If you flip it over, the anchor has his name engraved on one side. It was the first birthday present I got for him the year we started dating. It was my first real gift for him. I spent a long time trying to think of something that would make him happy. Eventually I splurged on this. A personalized bracelet from a small online shop. It wasn't that expensive, but to the high school me it cost a fortune. It was based on an inside joke of ours. I was constantly daydreaming, losing myself in my fantasy world and thinking up new ideas for my novel. Morgan always had to snap me back to reality. So I'd jokingly say, "You're the only thing anchoring me on Earth, otherwise I'd float into the clouds." My eyelids droop heavy with sleep and I trace my fingers along the curves of the smooth worn metal. My husband has worn it every day since I gave it to him. He wears it more than his wedding ring even. But wait, I scuff my thumb against the bottom of the anchor. The surface is blackened and tarnished, as if it's covered by some kind of mold. Morgan always keeps it clean. Why is it so dirty? Before I can fiddle with the bracelet more, my husband pulls his hand away and rests it on the couch armrest out of my reach. The dirt still bothers me, but I'm too tired to chase it. What's going on? As I drift off to sleep again, I imagine lying on that boat in the middle of the ocean. I can't see the shore, but I can still feel my husband, the feel of his body against mine, the slight rise and fall of his chest as he breathes. That feeling anchors me in place and I know I won't drift away. When I open my eyes, I'm drowning in darkness. Morgan is gone. He must have laid me down and rearranged the blanket and pillow after some point when I fell asleep. My throat is still raw and slightly swollen. I wobble up and make my way to the kitchen, tracing my fingers along the walls and the furniture to guide me through the shadows. Something's happening and I'm scared. After I chug a glass of water at the sink, I make my way back to my makeshift bed. However, as I'm walking back, a bright light catches my eye. Still groggy from sleep, I wander towards it like a moth to a flame. The bright light that fills the bathroom burns my eyes, which are too accustomed to the dark. A man is standing in front of me. Who is that? I squint. Pale skin, mid-length light blonde hair, tall slim build. As I put together the pieces in my mind, I recognize him. Oh, that's right. It's my husband, Morgan. But what is he doing up? What if we never had a husband at all? Like, we've never had a husband. We've been here alone this whole time. And this is just some entity who's like made fake memories in our head. Because we're all thinking like, oh, something might have replaced our husband. But what if we never had a husband at all? He lifts a clenched fist before rotating it, unfurling his fingers. Dozens of little colorful jelly beans fall from his hands. I wait for the clack as they spill onto the tile floor. Yet for some reason they vanish in midair. What is going on? I stand there in a daze for a moment trying to figure out what I'm witnessing. What are you doing? Morgan stops. He turns to look at me. His gaze is freezing cold, stabbing me through the heart like a dagger. The cold expression looks so unnatural on his face, as if it doesn't belong there. Then his features soften, the dagger retreating back into its scabbard. He smiles. That looks terrifying. Morgan? Are you okay? Abort mission. That is such an unsettling smile. It's nothing. Go back to sleep. What the hell? What the fuck? 12 years ago, on the canvas, a symphony of blues coalesce into a stormy scene. Dark rain clouds swirl on the top half, mirrored by the chaotic waves of the ocean below. Delicate pale blue strokes are overlaid on the top, mimicking raindrops. A small white boat struggles to stay afloat in the turbulent waters in the middle of the painting, half of it obscured by a particularly high wave. A tiny figure clings to the edge of the boat, his head dipped towards the waters. Is he attempting to keep his balance, to figure a way out of this mess that he's in? Or is he staring into the abyss, trying to come to terms with the fate that inevitably awaits him? The paintbrush descends, carving a jagged white line through the blue expanse, straight through the boat. It fades into the empty spaces at the edge of the canvas, cleaving the stormy scene in two. My fingers cling tighter to the worn doorframe. I lean a little closer, edging myself out of the safety of the doorway to get a closer look at the painting, in the middle of the art classroom, and the blonde teenager swinging the brush. Strange. Usually his paintings are so cheerful and bright, with warm saturated colors, sunny coastlines and fields of flowers and vibrant sunrises. This is the first time I've seen him paint something so dark. Maybe he's in a bad mood. Morgan isn't the most popular guy at high school, but his calm, unshakable cheeriness draws people to him like a magnet. He's like one of those wobble toys with the weighted bottoms. Even if you try to push him over, he springs back up. I sure would like to push his bottom until he springs up, the offense rolling off him as naturally as an ocean wave. Still, he's human. He has to feel upset sometimes. I wish I could worm into his brain and see what he's thinking about. Hey, are you gonna come in, or are you just gonna spy on me from the door the entire time? I jump and nervously look from side to side, wondering if it's too late for me to pretend I was just walking past. It's okay. Don't worry, you can come in. I bite my lip and step into the classroom standing in the doorway. If I had a tail, it would definitely be tucked between my legs. Aww. I wasn't trying to be weird. Your paintings are so pretty and I like looking at them and seeing how they're made. I curse inwardly. That is being weird. You dummy. Now Morgan thinks you're a creep and a stalker. I know. You always come by and look at my stuff, right? I'm flattered. You're really talented. Oh, I sound so awkward. Have I ever interacted with another human being? Am I an alien trying to navigate my conversation with an earthling? He laughs. Thank you. I'm nothing special, but painting is fun. He brushes off my compliment like a drop of rain that fell onto his jacket. Morgan has always been like this. Whenever people try to flatter him, he recites the same lines. Thank you. You're very kind, but it's nothing special. Part of my heart stings with irritation, jealousy crawling through my insides. He's so used to receiving compliments that they're worthless to him. He throws them away like weak old trash. But part of me admires him. It's as if he's saying that he's not making art for an audience. He's doing it because he loves it. Because it's his passion. It's cliche, but there's something pure about the way he talks about painting. I hover around the doorway like a lost jellyfish, not quite sure if I should leave or not. You can watch, if you want, but only if you let me read that novel that you're writing. Novel? The word comes out so rough it sounds like I butchered it with a knife. I don't really write or anything like that. Just things for school, you know? My cheeks burn as I avert my gaze. Oh really? He shoots me a cheeky grin. Whenever you don't have your nose in a book, you're glued to your laptop tapping away on something that seems way more interesting than a school project. And that short story that you wrote for English was way too good. You definitely had some practice. My heart plummets. Morgan has always been watching me that closely. I always thought that I was practically invisible. My mind races through all the embarrassing things that I've done in the past week. Did he see that time I stumbled over my shoelaces in the hallway? Or that time when I spent 5 minutes trying to get my lockers to close? Has he noticed all the times that I looked at him? Morgan raises an amused eyebrow. A friend of mine found those chapters that you print at the library too. Although I made him throw them away. I figured you wouldn't want them getting around. Oh no, I wish a hole would just appear beneath me and drop me straight into the molten lava at the center of the earth. I just saw a few sentences, but it looked really interesting. Alright, upon hearing my hesitant mumble, the boy waves his hand dismissively. You don't have to show me, I'm not trying to force you or anything. It's really alright. I don't mind. My fingers fumble over the zipper of my backpack and I drop my laptop on the nearest table. Morgan washes his hands and sits on the stool in front of the computer. I only finished the first few chapters, and it's still the first draft. Not even the first draft, more like a brainstorm. Just getting ideas on the page, so it's super rough. Oh, okay. He hums with interest and leans closer. I pull out my phone, pretending to be doing something important. Flicking through a string of funny dog videos does nothing to ease my nervousness. Every once in a while, I lift my eyes to study his expression. It's perfectly neutral, like the surface of a calm sea. If he wants to laugh or sneer, he's hiding it well. Although he doesn't look that excited either. Do people usually look really excited when they read something interesting? I have no idea. I never share my writing to anyone before. He's not reacting, so that must mean it's boring. He's forcing himself to finish. Oh no, My heart jumps when he suddenly turns his eyes from the computer, landing on me, staring right at him. It's good. Really good. He's so cute. You don't have to say that. I know it's a mess. All the details of my fantasy novels spin in my mind, taunting me. The 10 characters were names that are impossible to pronounce. The half a dozen countries that are difficult to keep track of even with a map. The 10 pages dedicated to explaining the intricacies of the magic system. Oh, I would love that. I'm such a sucker for like a good hard magic system. Morgan's a nice guy. Of course he wouldn't say anything other than it's good, no matter how horrible and boring and nonsensical he thought it was. My inner voice is wailing, pounding at the inside of my skull. As opposed to Morgan currently on the island pounding at me, which is very sad that it hasn't happened yet. Why did I show him? He wrings his hands, rubbing some of the dried paint from his fingers. Well, I admit, I was gonna read it and try and encourage you, since writing a whole novel is so cool and you're cool for doing it, but it's really, really good. I'm not just saying that to be encouraging, it's seriously good. I love the concept, where Lucy time travels between the ancient world and the modern world, changing the course of history with her choices. It's so interesting, there's so much you can do with that. Aww, thank you for saying that. I try and sound as genuine as I can, but my thanks comes out in an insincere frog croak. Morgan lets out a short exhale. He scrapes blue paint from one of his nails as he thinks. I'm not saying it's perfect, there were some parts that I thought were kind of confusing. Like the 3 characters that get introduced whose names all start with A. I want to cry, and the explanation of the politics is kind of long. I definitely want to cry. But that one scene where Lucy's falling through the space of mirrors watching her life play out in the reflections, it was so vivid. From your description, I could picture it so clearly in my head. She's tumbling like a black feather through the white emptiness, her memories flashing past like ghosts at the edge of the frame. When I was reading it, I thought I thought, I really want to paint this. It was beautiful. He's telling the truth. My insecurity screeches saying that he's lying. Yet when I hear the unabashed sincerity in Morgan's words, those screeches get quieter and quieter until they're a murmur at the back of my mind. He's telling the truth. He's actually telling the truth. I can feel my face grow hot, flushed with self-consciousness and pride as I realize that Morgan, of all people, wants to paint my work. I want to run out of the room and jump for joy, both at the same time. What I wrote is actually good. When you finish the next chapter, show me, okay? I have to know what happens after Lucy meets the shade again. Alright, trip down memory lane. Day 3, I'm nervous. Despite the protests and my lingering headache, I force my eyes open. I'm lying on the couch again. The pillow has fallen onto the floor, and the blanket also started to make its escape. I struggle onto my elbows, wincing at the throbbing pain in my head. The last thing I remember was standing in front of the bathroom talking to my husband. He told me something, and then I woke up. I guess I must have gone back to the couch and fallen asleep. The sound of the toaster echoes from behind me. Ooh, he's wearing something different. He looks good. Wow. I stagger to my feet and make my way to the kitchen. Morgan is standing at the counter, sliding a couple of freshly toasted slices of bread onto plates. He smiles when he sees me. Good morning. Good morning. The greeting stumbles out in a sleepy slur. What time is it? 8, I think. I wince. How long did I sleep? 12? 14 hours. He neatly lines up the toast on the plate. How are you feeling today? Do you think you can eat? I'm feeling better. I can eat. I'm glad. Why don't you get cleaned up while I finish this? I nod and retreat to my room. By the time I return to the kitchen, the food is already sitting on the table. When he sees me, Morgan hurriedly finishes drying the dishes and sits down so we can eat. My eyes widen when I see the dark liquid in his cup. My husband was never a fan of coffee, especially not black coffee. His drink of choice was tea, usually tempered with a bit of milk. He must have not slept well last night. My plate has a heap of eggs scrambled with onions, peppers and mushrooms and sausages. A slice of toast cut into neat triangles, arranged on the opposite side. The steam rising from the food makes my mouth water. I can only hope I won't vomit it all up, like I did last time. By the way, I'm still worried about the boat. Did you call? Yeah, apparently it'll be storming on and off for a while. They won't be able to send anyone for a week at least. A week? I balk. I know, but there's not much we can do about it. As much as I hate to admit it, I have to agree. I can't ask someone to risk life and limb to come to us in such turbulent weather. I sigh and start eating my scramble. As I chew a mushroom, my eyes start to wander to my husband. That's strange. I've always found something mysteriously entrancing about the way Morgan prepares his toast. First, he carefully scrapes on a thin layer of butter as if he's priming a canvas. Next, he adds a dollop of marmalade. His movements are meticulous and delicate as he smooths the orange jelly. He moves like he's painting, sweeping the knife over the bread with the grace of a brush. By the end, the toast glistens with a perfectly even layer of marmalade, like a fine coat of glass. He holds it up, checking it before taking a small bite from one of the corners. It's such a normal, boring thing. And it's one of the reasons I love him, that strange, overly precise way that he makes his toast. However, something is different this time. The order and the ingredients are the same. A pat of butter, then some marmalade. But there's something off about the way that he moves. The knife sweeps across the bread in broad, swift strokes, as if he's in a rush and just wants to get the job done. Oh no. When he's finished, the butter has been smeared around the center with none making it to the sides. The layer of marmalade is too thick in some places and too thin in others. Oh no, whoever's replaced our husband has missed the finer details. There's something off about it too. Something about the lumpy mass of orange jelly sends a prickle up my spine. I almost blurt out why he's spreading it like that before I catch myself. No, stop being silly. Why are you being so critical of the way Morgan prepares his toast? However, even as I stifle that question, another one bubbles up in the back of my thoughts. What were you doing last night? Morgan takes a sip of his coffee. What are you talking about? I saw you last night. You're in the bathroom. Oh, I probably went to the bathroom last night. No, that's not what I meant. You were standing in there doing something. I saw you and talked to you. I think I asked you what you were doing, but I don't remember what you said. My husband takes another small bite of his toast. Some of the generously dispensed marmalade dribbles onto his plate. He chews thoughtfully. I didn't talk to you last night after you went to bed. Maybe you were dreaming. You were pretty feverish. Is he gaslighting us? Press the issue. I wasn't sleeping. At the very least, I can differentiate dreams from reality. I talked to you. Morgan exhales heavily. Alright, I probably used the bathroom in the middle of the night. Maybe I talked to you. I honestly don't remember. I must have been half asleep. Even if I did, I can't see how it's important. I pursed my lips. I can't argue with that. I was simply curious. Why did I even ask that anyway? Who asked people what they were doing in the bathroom of all places? There's clearly only one reason. A person would go to the toilet. Something's not right and I've got my eye on you, sir. Morgan must think that I'm out of my mind. I'm sorry. It was a weird question. My husband can't suppress a smile. It's alright. It was funny. After breakfast, I retreat to my bedroom to write. Or try writing at least. I managed to squeeze out 200 haphazard words. But when I come back to my computer in the early afternoon, the text looks like children's scribble on the page. Once I finish mashing the delete key, I rest my forehead on the desk. The chilly sunlight leaking through the window feels cold on my skin. My debut novel, Moon Crossing, centered around Lucy, a young girl who hailed from a futuristic fantasy world. She was an imaginative youth who frequently dreamed about traveling back in time to ages where people could become heroes and legends. One day, she unexpectedly encountered a shadowy figure who called himself the Shade. The mysterious man gave her a bracelet. The trinket allowed her to travel back in time with her best friend, a boy named Alex. Upon finding herself in the past, Lucy tried to go on an adventure, inadvertently triggering a series of events that created changes in her present. After realizing her error, she and Alex proceeded to travel back and forth between the past and present, each action having disastrous consequences. But during the sixth trip, the unfortunate pair accidentally triggered a change that caused Alex to vanish from existence. Desperate to get her best friend back, Lucy sought out the Shade again. When she found him, she discovered that the shadowy figure was actually a god known as the Master of the Epochs. Once he had guarded the sanctity over time with the other gods, but after becoming corrupted he sought to cause chaos throughout timeline. Lucy tricked the Master into telling her how to return Alex, and Moon Crossing ended as they lay on the beach embracing each other, finding that the world that they once knew had irreparably changed. It was a massive success. Many people praised the high concept, the interesting world building, and the poignant budding romance between the two leads. The second book was much less so. It was almost double the length of the first and expanded the scope of the story immensely with a much greater focus on the politics and mechanics of the time travel. I knew it would be a harder sell than Moon Crossing when I released it, so I tried my best to cater to my audience's tastes. I gave fan favorite characters a greater role in the narrative. I had a twist that I thought my readers would find surprising while getting rid of the predictable ones, but the knife in my back was the romance. The relationship between Lucy and Alex, which had garnered me so much acclaim in my debut, was a thorn, no a dagger in my side. After seeing what changes they had wrought on the world, Lucy and Alex joined opposing factions. Alex advocated for turning everything back to the way it was, while Lucy wanted to preserve the new world. They parted in the opening chapters of the book. Friends turned enemies. This turn of events was unpopular. I pinched my brow. I needed the last book in the trilogy to be a success, since we graduated from college. I made some money off of my other books. Still, we've mainly been living off lingering royalties from Moon Crossing. The sales dwindle every year and our savings won't last forever. I did get some money from my family, and in the worst case scenario I could always sell this island. It's just a small rocky isle, a few hours from civilization in every direction. A place that would only be attractive to the most reclusive millionaire. Still, I should be able to get something for it. But my family has owned it for generations. I spent my summers here. This island is filled with so many memories. I can't get rid of this place. In the third book, Lucy and Alex are supposed to reunite after reconciling their differences, finally realizing how much they loved each other all along. But I can't seem to write it. Every time I imagine their reunion, it feels so vague, so shapeless. Wish I had an island. I'd use it to raise cats. After being so distant, how will they even start this conversation? How will they overcome all of the hurt that they've caused each other? How can they possibly go back to the way things used to be? The more I think about it, the more impossible it seems. I've been puzzling over this scene for months now. I leave and come back hoping that fresh eyes will help, but each time I try to write the scene it feels too unnatural, too forced, and I delete it. Sometimes I wonder if they should reunite at all. This is very obviously spurred on by the relationship between us and our husband and how bad it's gotten. I wonder what Morgan is doing now. My thoughts wander to my husband. I wonder what he's doing now. He usually spends the start of his day doing the chores, cleaning and organizing, preparing ingredients for lunch and dinner. He only starts painting once he's done with most of his other daily tasks. Has he started painting yet? I stop in front of the door to Morgan's painting studio. It used to be one of the old bedrooms when we moved in. We cleared it out so that my husband could use it for his work. I deliberately chose a spacious room with lots of natural light and a good view of the ocean. Perfect for painting. We usually respect each other's private spaces, but part of me misses our days at school. I would sit in the classroom watching my boyfriend paint out the corner of my eye while I typed away on my computer. Even though we didn't talk, both too immersed in our own endeavors, I enjoyed his presence. Seeing him so focused on his art inspired me to work harder on my own. After we moved in together, sometimes I would bring my laptop and work at the side table in the corner. Over the years, my rhythmic clack on my keyboard has become familiar background music in my husband's studio, though I haven't done that in over a year. Maybe you should do that. I lean over and squint. Through the crack, I can see the tall, straight figure of the man I married. He's standing a few feet back from the canvas, his arms crossed and tapping the handle of his paintbrush against his forearm, his face twisting in consternation. After a few moments of deliberation, he dips the brush into the blue paint and makes a single stroke. He steps back again and appraises his work. No, that's not right. Not right at all. This is more difficult than I expected. I'm surprised. Morgan is rather hesitant with the brush. Hey, what do you think? A jolt of shock runs through me when I hear him call out to me. I had no idea he noticed my presence. After all, he's not facing me. Instead, he's looking out the window, the dim afternoon light casting harsh shadows on his back. Not answering me? Sorry. I didn't want to bother you while you were concentrating. How did he know we were there? He turns around, fast as whip. His eyes are wide with, no, that can't be right. Why would he be scared to see me? Was he not talking to us? Okay, new theory. What if Morgan is possessed and he's asking whatever is inside of him what they thought? His face quickly relaxes. Do you think I didn't notice you spying on me? Is something the matter? I gingerly open the door and step inside. No, I wanted to see you. I just wanted to see you. Oh, is that so? His voice was warm with fondness. Is the writing not going well? Not really. His face softens. I'm having some troubles too. The brush isn't moving as smoothly as I like. I cast a glance at the canvas before quickly averting my gaze. Even though the painting that Morgan has toiled over for several weeks is visually stunning, for some reason it stirs a strange feeling in my gut. My eyes wander around the studio. I'm struck by how bare it is. The white walls staring at me like an accusation. I've come in here a few times before since we moved to the island, but never noticed the emptiness before. When we lived in the city, Morgan's studio was never this barren. He always had at least half a dozen paintings, both finished products and works in progress, propped up against the walls. Now the only canvas with any colour on it is the one that he's keeping on his easel, and the rest are unused. What happened to all your paintings? It's getting a little crowded in here, so I moved them all into the storage room. I'm surprised. Morgan never liked working in an empty space. It was too sterile for him. Being surrounded by reminders of what he had created, and what he had yet to create, inspired him a lot, or so he told me. My husband thumbs his chin thoughtfully. I have an idea. Why don't we paint together? Me? Paint? Together? Just something small. We can use some of the canvas panels I use for practice. We haven't done much together lately. Sometimes I miss you. What do you mean? We're together every day. What do you mean? We live in the same house, and we do basically everything together. We probably couldn't be more together if we tried. Morgan chuckles. It's an empty laugh. He's not doing it because he's genuinely amused. Rather, he simply wants to ease the transition in an awkward conversation. Well, you're right. Honestly, I'm surprised that you aren't sick of me. He says this in a perfectly self-deprecating way, but the remark still seems uncomfortably pointed. Well, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. It sounds fun. Who knows, maybe I'll put you out of a job. Morgan lays a canvas panel out on the large piece of cardboard and props it against the easel. Since we don't want to wait for things to dry, let's use acrylics. Should be a little easier to work with too. He cleans up his oil paints and fetches his acrylics. When he's finished, he hands me the palette and a medium-sized brush. I brandish my new weapon, making a few mock strokes in front of the canvas as I plan my masterpiece. I already know what I'll paint. Something beautiful and stunning that will even impress Morgan. Although those hopes are quickly dashed. While I'm mixing my colours onto the palette, they turn murkier and murkier. In the past, my husband has warned me about mixing too many colours about a dozen times. But like Icarus, I do not heed his warning. At the end of it all, I have a very nice brown colour. No! I sigh. The plans for my masterpiece would have to be scrapped. A few minutes later, my husband peers over my canvas. That's a very nice potato. Damn it, shut up! It's a dog. It's a very nice dog. Is that blood dripping out of its mouth? Is it a vampire? That's supposed to be a smile. Well, it's a terrifying smiling dog, but it is an excellent vampire potato. I playfully shove my chuckling husband so hard that he wobbles to the side and has to catch himself from falling. Yeah, I have an idea. I'll sketch something in pencil and you can paint it. What do you think? It's easier when you have a sketch to work off rather than painting freehand. Okay, he's so cute though. I'm so sad. I really hope nothing's happened to him. I feel like an elementary schooler in their first art class. But after I cast an exhausted glance at my potato, I can't refuse. Potato. What do you want to paint? An animal. I like to paint an animal. A cute one. Alright, he sets the canvas on his work table, turning it over so that he's drawing on the opposite side of the potato. He starts to lightly sketch with a pencil, his hand gliding over the white surface. It only takes him a few minutes to finish. How's this? I lean closer to take a look. A kitten's round face smiles up at me. I'm a bit surprised. Morgan has always been more of a dog person than a cat person. It looks good. He places the panel on the easel again, and also cleans out my beautifully brown palette and adds some fresh paint for me. I raise my brush and get to work. The process is much easier with my husband's sketch to guide me. I don't have to worry about the shape or the proportions, so I can just focus on coloring. My second attempt turns out far better than the first. You can actually tell what it's supposed to be this time. After I'm done, we continue, with Morgan making sketches for me to paint. Soon the canvas is filled to the brim with various doodles. When it's full, my husband peers out of the window, admiring the sun as it crests the surface of the ocean. Oh, I should start preparing dinner soon. The rosy hues of the setting sun have filled the studio, announcing the arrival of the evening. It's a cliche, but I can't help but to wonder where the time went. I've been having so much fun that the hours seem to pass by in a matter of minutes. Already? Should we do one more? I'll do you one more, bend over. I nod enthusiastically. He replaces the panel with another slightly smaller one. I think I want to tackle a flower this time. How about sea lavender? I thought that if we're gonna make new mugs, then I should practice. Maybe I can paint you better flowers this time. Morgan's eyes widen in surprise. Oh? And I was looking forward to another seaweed mug, even though he meant the comment to be a teasing quip. The sarcasm is overtaken by the warm affection that permeates his voice. Sea lavender is a relatively complicated shape, so it takes him a while to finish the sketch. When he's done, I take up my brush again, brimming with renewed vigor. Determined to make this one my masterpiece, I carefully paint in the base colors, purple and white for the flowers, yellow for the sandy backdrop, and bright blue for the sky overhead. After that, I carefully add in lighting and shading, tracing my brush along the dark areas, just like how Morgan taught me. In the end, my sea lavender still ends up looking like seaweed. At the very least, it's prettier seaweed than what I painted in high school. As I wipe off my hands, my husband admires my painting. It looks good. I think I'll put it up in my room. Oh no! My refusal shoots out as fast as a bullet. Why not? It's your masterpiece that you spent a whole 30 minutes on. Why shouldn't I keep such a work of art? Because it's ugly. Really? I think it's charming. My silence is loud. It says, I think you're a liar. Look at him blush, he's so cute. He considers the painting again. Well, it's your ugly, and your ugly is still beautiful to me. I groan inwardly. It's hard to be mad at my husband even when he starts spilling silly, cheesy lines like this because he spouts them with complete utter sincerity. But if you really don't want me to keep it, I won't keep it. You can keep it. You remember, give your husband a nice present. Yay, I'm being nice to him. I can practically hear him giggling to himself, reveling in his victory. After I hand him the apron, I head back upstairs to try and get a few words down while Morgan prepares dinner. I only end up writing another few hundred words before my husband calls me back downstairs. We continue chatting merrily about our painting session as we enjoy the meal. My chest still feels light when the sky is completely dark and Morgan gets up from the couch to head down to the hall to the guest bedroom. Wait, he pauses. Do you want to sleep in the master tonight? My husband's eyes widen. We used to sleep in the same bedroom, but since I always seem to write better in the quiet of the night, my schedule has always been frightfully irregular. Back when we lived in an apartment in the city, I would work in the living room and sleep on the couch to avoid waking Morgan during my late night work sessions. Shortly after we came to the island, those late nights started to happen every day when I had the energy to work. Eventually, I proposed sleeping in separate bedrooms together. My husband wasn't happy, but he didn't protest. Oh no! I feel so bad. I offered him the master, but he opted for the guest bedroom, saying that he liked the view from there. Though I know that he was just being considerate. We haven't slept together since then. Why all of a sudden? Did you want to... Did I want to what? Do it? Yes? Heat explodes in my face at the implication. We haven't slept in the same bed for months, let alone slept together. No, it's not that. Not that I don't want to, but it's not that I don't find my husband attractive. Far from it. But with everything that's been going on in my personal life and with our relationship, the thought of being intimate brings a sense of discomfort that I'm not ready to deal with. No need to explain. I understand. I was thinking about the boat thing. I'll be sleeping early tonight, and I thought, after what you told me about the boats and all, that you might want to go to sleep and know I'm there, or something. As I speak, my words get more and more jumbled as I realize how silly I sound. Morgan smiles warmly. Yes, I'd love that. After we both brush up, Morgan joins me in my room. We spend some time sitting in bed reading side by side. My husband has his nose buried in some non-fiction books about war crimes while I peruse one of my favorite classic fantasy novels. I only get a couple of pages through the protagonist's daring escape from the band of vicious mermaids when my eyes start to droop. I shut my book before I doze off. Going to sleep now. I nod, burrowing myself under the covers and shutting my eyes. I can hear the soft thud as he puts his book on the table and the click as he shuts off the light. I bet something's gonna happen. Good night. Good night. Even though I was about to drift off a minute ago, in the dark I'm suddenly alert. I'm oddly aware of Morgan's presence in the bed, the soft sounds as he breathes in and out, the way he shifts and makes the sheets rustle. He can make my sheets rustle. And the realization tastes bitter, knowing that simply sleeping with my husband makes me so nervous now. I roll onto my side, facing away from him. My heartbeat quickens as the mattress creaks. It dips as Morgan settles next to me. He doesn't hug me. Instead, he just comes in close so that our bodies barely brush together. I can feel the rush of breath against the back of my neck as he speaks. It's surprisingly cold, making my exposed skin tingle. He still smells of salt water. I'm happy that you let me sleep here tonight, Yandere. That's so mean. I'm not gonna pretend to sleep and ignore him. I'm happy too. I'm happy too. That's a lie. I don't feel happy. Though I don't feel particularly unhappy either. I just feel self-conscious, as if Morgan and I are two puzzle pieces that I'm trying to put together. I know that we used to fit before. Now I have to press the pieces, forcing them into a cohesive whole. I love you. Sleep well. Before I can reply, my husband retreats to the other side of the bed. I can still detect the faint smell of salt water in the air. I close my eyes and imagine that I'm floating on the surface of a dark and distant sea. At some point, I drift off to sleep, only to awaken with a throbbing headache. My brain feels like it's banging against the inside of my skull like a petulant neighbor. Ugh, I'm nervous. What's going on? I press my fingers against my temples, hoping that I'll be able to pressure the pain into submission. My efforts fail miserably. It's still dark. I was probably only asleep for a few hours. I turn in bed, but I can't see the familiar shape of my husband's shadow on the other side of the mattress. Did he get up? I struggle up, my head murky from sleep. The wooden floorboards are chilly underneath my feet as I make my way to the bathroom. As soon as I flip the light switch, I instinctively close my eyes. And after I've adjusted to the blindingly bright light, I fish around in the medicine cabinet for painkillers. Where is my husband? I down a couple of tablets, then shake the strangely light container. The 3 remaining pills rattle noisily around the bottom. That's odd. I took some painkillers for a headache around a week ago. At the same time, I could have sworn that the bottle was nearly full. Did Morgan take them? There's no way. There's almost 200 tablets. Besides, my husband's conscientiousness also always compels him to put out refills if he notices that we're getting low on anything. Maybe he forgot. He has been absent-minded lately. I kneel down and open the cabinet underneath the sink. We keep extras of the most common medications there. Painkillers, cold medicines, antacids. Where is it? The cabinet underneath the sink is stocked full of a variety of items. I sigh and rummage through them. After a few minutes, I start tossing out items onto the floor around me in frustration, even though I know I have to put them all back later. Toilet paper, shampoo and conditioner, hand soap, hand sanitizer, spray bottles of bathroom cleaner, toilet bowl cleaner, toothpaste and floss, a first aid kit. It's not here. There isn't a single bottle of acetaminophen underneath the sink. In fact, there aren't any pill bottles underneath the sink. I stand and throw open the medicine cabinet. All of the medications are still there. I grab the aspirin and look inside. Again, 5 pills. Every single bottle of medication is light. Too light. When I unscrew each of them, I'm met with a familiar sight. 5 lonely pills rolling around the bottom of the container. So he was throwing pills away. The laxatives, the antacids, the sleeping pills. Even the bottle of allergy medicine only has 5 tablets in it. The packets of cold medication, the drawers have also been neatly torn apart, leaving 5 capsules in the boxes. Why is it all 5? Why does every single one only have 5 left? Cold realization dawns on me as my mind drifts back to last night. Morgan wasn't throwing away jelly beans. He was throwing away pills. He went into every single bottle we owned and counted out 5 pills each, flushing the rest down the toilet. Why did he? Alright, I can understand why he threw them out. I can't blame him. The memories gnaw at my conscience. Still, why did he lie? This morning I asked him about it point blank. What were you doing last night? And he didn't just avoid the question, he denied that he'd been awake at all. He said I was dreaming. Why would he do that? Morgan doesn't lie to me. Throughout our entire relationship, we've never been seriously dishonest with each other, even with the little things. Instead of saying that he was too busy to do the laundry, my husband would frankly say that he forgot. When I introduced him to a book series that I love, he'd say that he wasn't a fan. Morgan has always been comfortable enough with me to be completely truthful. He knows that our relationship won't waver no matter what he has to say, or that's how it used to be at least. Okay, but where is he? My chest aches. Does my husband not trust me enough to be honest with me anymore? 9 years ago. What is going on though? Where is he? I jog up the stairs 2 steps at a time, my shoes squeaking against the vinyl flooring. The air in the art building is heavy with the scent of paint and chemical solvent at this time of day. It's almost completely deserted. Most of the students have gone to the cafeteria for dinner. I usually wait for Morgan on the curb outside of this building, but I decided to surprise him this time. He showed me the way to his studio once or twice. I analyze the doors as I pass them, trying to remember the correct one when I hear his voice. Pass me the brush soap, will you? I go to the door. I'm about to open it when I hear another voice. Hey Morgan, you're dating that author, right? The one who got published when they were 18? I freeze. They're talking about me. How do you know that? Everyone's seen her coming around to pick you up after class. Yeah, she's not 18 anymore. We started dating when we were juniors in high school. I was actually the first person who got to read Moon Crossing. My boyfriend's voice lifts with pride. Right, Moon Crossing. I read that. It was pretty good. A lot of weird names, but the time travel was awesome. I heard that a trilogy is already lined up, and they brought the rights for a TV series. I can't believe your luck. You really got it made bagging someone like that when you're still in high school before she even got famous. We're not like that. I'm proud of her, that's all. She's been working so hard on her writing ever since I first met her. The little ponytail? Still, don't be too disappointed if stuff happens. You know how it goes, yeah? How it goes? The question is a little pointed like the tip of a dart. You know, person gets famous, next minute they're dropping their old partner like a hot potato. Doesn't that mostly happen with old guys who have a midlife crisis and want younger wives? I don't think that really applies here. Well, it's like entering a new stage of society. You need to get together with someone who's wealthy and famous too. Someone who'll give you good photos for the paparazzi. A sticky, uncomfortable feeling stirs in my insides. Why are they talking about me like that? They don't know me. They've never even met me. Morgan is plenty handsome already. He doesn't need to worry about that sort of stuff, right, Morgan? The boy laughs. The slimy cackle hangs uncomfortably in the air. Just make yourself into the finest house husband in the world and you won't have to worry about a thing. You might be right. Guess I should learn how to make toast without burning it. Is that why he's such a doting husband? That's so sad. You can do it, man. As the conversation wanders to their school assignments, I tiptoe away and hide around the corner until I hear the door creak. The boys' obnoxious laughter and the girls' annoyed comments fade down the hallway until they're nothing more than whispers. I linger in my hiding place a few more minutes. My anxiety tugs at my sleeve, urging me to leave. For some reason, I don't really want to see Morgan's face. No, that's not right. I came all this way to see him. I return to the door, hesitate for a moment before pulling it open. Hey, as soon as he hears the door open, Morgan turns. His face brightens when he sees me, his lips curving into a slight smile. Oh, look at him! Yinny. I try to sound cheery and nonchalant as if I hadn't heard a word that Morgan exchanged with his classmates. But as soon as I see my boyfriend, a dark pall falls over the room, 1,000 needles prickling my skin. How can he wear that sort of expression? Right after he finished gossiping about me like I was some kind of tabloid headline. As if I was one of those self-obsessed billionaires who would throw him away like trash now that I was famous. Why did you let him talk about us like that, Morgan? Why did you agree? Do you really think that about me? About us? Is something the matter? Huh? What? Sorry. You look a little down, that's all. I thought maybe something happened. No. The word slips out of my mouth before I can catch it. Morgan is always asking, is something the matter? Are you okay? He says it so much that denial has become second nature to me. As if I'm a program designed to convince others of my own reliability. Now that I've already said nothing is wrong, I can't immediately take it back. I tell myself to let it go. Things like this happen. If I start stirring up trouble over every little thing that upsets me, then we'll spend our entire time together fighting, and I don't want that. Morgan probably felt awkward and agreed so that he wouldn't start a fight with the other boy. It's no big deal. I've just gotta finish cleaning up and then we can go. I nod and sit on the stool in front of my boyfriend's canvas. He busies himself cleaning off paintbrushes in the sink. My eyes wander to his newest work. The last time I saw it, it was nothing but a pencil sketch on the canvas, and now it's brimming with color. A clear blue sky hovers at the top of the painting, a couple of clouds hanging in the air. The horizon is highlighted in pale orange. The dark sea bobs in the middle of the canvas. Creamy sand frames the bottom, already dyed slightly yellow, ready to greet the sun. There's something white lying in the sand that I don't recognize. What's that? I point to the bottom left corner. A faint white cloth lies half buried in the sand, barely noticeable at first glance. Morgan comes to peer closer as he wiped excess moisture from the brushes. Oh, what is that exactly? His question sounds genuine, as if someone else stole into the studio and painted this strange white cloth in his absence. Okay, theory that he shares his brain with some entity is getting a little stronger. That's what I'm asking you. He chuckles to himself. It's a warm, slightly self-deprecating sound. I thought it might be a bridal veil, like this bride was about to be happily married and all of a sudden she disappeared. Gone into the sea and the only thing that washes up on her shore is her white veil. Did she fall? Was she pushed? Did she jump because she realized she didn't want to be married after all? Or maybe a partner broke up with her at the altar and she fell into despair. I'm surprised by Morgan's answers. Why are all the possibilities so macabre? He does like tragedies, but I appreciate the painting again. The warm colors, the gentle breeze tickling at the flowers, the calm surface of the sea almost as smooth as a pane of glass. Such sad stories didn't suit this painting. Not a painting that Morgan made. Maybe she married a god of the sea. They had their wedding on the shore, and when the god tossed her veil back and kissed her, she gained the ability to breathe underwater. Then she threw the veil onto the sand and dove into the depths with her beloved, never to return. How about that? Morgan thumbs his chin thoughtfully before nodding. His smile is as soft as the touch of a feather. I like that. I like that a lot. Day 4. As I open my eyes, the early morning sun warms my face. I feel fine, or as fine as I can feel. Sleeping has worn some of the raw edges off my foul mood, and the knowledge of my husband's deceit doesn't sting nearly as painfully as it did last night. I roll over, carefully as I can to avoid making a sound. Morgan isn't lying next to me. Instead, the bed is neatly made. The perfectly smooth pillow and comforter leave no trace of his presence. He even took his book from the nightstand. I'm quietly relieved. I'm sure seeing him as soon as I woke up would have reignited my anger like dry kindling. When I finally decide to get up, I move through my daily routine slowly, as if I'm wading through molasses. I'm afraid that if I move quickly, then I'll have to leave this room all the sooner and look at my husband's face. I linger in front of the window and admire the vast ocean. The world beyond is obscured by a fog, making the water look endless. I'm suddenly all too aware that I'm trapped on this island, alone, with a liar. My eyes wander to the lighthouse. In the distance, it stands on the edge of a rocky outcrop at the edge of the shoreline. There's a good view from the top. I wonder if the boat floated too far. If it's still close by, maybe I can spot it from the lighthouse. I make my way to the kitchen. I'm surprised to find that it's empty. Sometimes Morgan takes an early morning walk, but he's usually back by the time I wake up. A strange metallic scent hangs in the air, intermingling with the faint smell of salt water. The overpowering stench worms its way through my nostrils, tickling my throat until I want to gag. I run to the window and throw it open, welcoming the clean scent of the ocean breeze. My eyes catch something lying on the ground, and I stoop to pick it up. It's a hard, slim white object, roughly the size and shape of a toothpick. It takes me a moment to realize that I'm looking at a fishbone. What is going on? Looking around, I find a couple more bones along with the part of a fin. My face quirks in confusion as I drop my findings in the bin. Did Morgan make such a mess when he was cooking? But he's always so meticulous. He cleans every inch of the kitchen after he cooks, running a mop over the floor until it's spotless. Besides, we haven't had fresh fish since the last time our supply arrived nearly 2 weeks ago. Good morning. I make a jolt like a startled cat. Morning. My greeting comes out a little more sullen than I intended. My irritation at my husband's deception isn't sharp, but it's still there, throbbing dully in my head. Tell him that you know he lied. I need drama. Morgan. He stiffens. He knows the tone of voice and he knows that I'm not going to tell him anything good. Yesterday I had a headache, and I went to the bathroom to look for painkillers. The bottle was almost empty. And not just that one, all the bottles were almost empty. You threw them away, didn't you? Even as he starts to speak, he trails off. Is he trying to come up with an explanation and realizing that there isn't one? I understand. You don't have to try to explain. That doesn't... Well, that's not the main thing that bothers me. I'm upset that you lied, Morgan. I saw you throwing them away, and when I confronted you about it, you lied to my face. I don't want our marriage to be like that, sneaking around, doing things in secret. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, I understand. He falls silent again. It's hard for me to read his expression. His face is oddly blank, like a whiteboard, wiped clean. I wait for him to speak, but he just goes to the fridge and starts taking out the ingredients for breakfast. So he's not planning to apologize. I never demanded an apology from my husband before. I've never needed to. Morgan is quick to realize his wrongs and even quicker to apologize for them. Sometimes he'll say he's sorry for things I didn't even notice. My chest feels heavy. I want him to apologize, but also I know that if I ask, it would be a hollow gesture. One meant to appease me, and not because he genuinely feels sorry. I know why he did it. Still, he should have told me. He should say that he was wrong for lying and that he won't do it again. I'm assuming Arthur might have like a dependency on like over-the-counter medicine maybe? But it wouldn't help to start a fight, so I try to swallow my bitterness. It leaves a lump in my throat. We didn't talk much during breakfast. We didn't talk much during lunch either. We exchanged the usual small talk. How's work going? What do you want to eat for dinner? I'm glad it's nice out today. But we only trade a few sentences before lapsing into silence, finishing our meals quickly. After lunch, drowsiness threatens to drag me under. If I sit at my desk, no doubt I'll be nodding off in a matter of minutes. Their relationship is falling apart. Hi, Jared. Yay. After lunch, drowsiness threatens to drag me under. If I sit at my desk, no doubt I'll be nodding off in a matter of minutes. Through the window, I can see the threatening rain clouds in the distance. I should probably check out the lighthouse before it starts to rain. I'm going for a walk. Wanna come with me? Even if I'm still irritated by Morgan's lies, the silent treatment won't help our relationship. We can't spend our entire lives talking to each other like we're neighbors that come across each other once a month. I'm going for a walk down to the lighthouse. Do you wanna come with me? The lighthouse? What for? It's pretty tall. I thought that I might be able to spot the boat from there if it hasn't drifted too far. Why did his eyes go dull? Look, he's got like shine in his eyes. And once you say you want to look for the boat, his eyes go dull. Why is that? Morgan, what is going on? Do you know something about the boat? Did you set it adrift? That's pointless, isn't it? It's been days since it was swept away. Even if you can see it, it's not as if we'll be able to swim out together. I can't help the irritation from leaking into my voice. Well, it's not as if it takes days to walk down there. I want to get some fresh air anyway. Alright then, let's go. Even though the lighthouse is situated on the other side of the island, it doesn't take us too long to reach it. The door creaks a bit when I open it, but considering the building's age, it's in good condition. My grandmother loved this place. After inheriting the property, my grandfather renovated the rooms for her. He didn't spend as much time here after she passed, but it seems like he still took care of it up until his death. Apart from the thin layer of dust on the furniture, it would be hard to tell that no one stepped into the lighthouse for months. The metal creaks as we navigate the spiral stairs up to the top. Do you see anything? I squint my eyes as I scan the surrounding sea, looking for a white splotch on the blue landscape. It's difficult to see through the thick layer of fog. I don't know if this is the best idea, because what if something has replaced our husband and now we're in danger at the top of a very high building? Nope. Just water. Even though I was expecting this, I still let out a little sigh of disappointment. I lean my elbows on the railing and hang my head, not ready to descend the 5 flights of stairs. Morgan reclines against the railing too. I'll show him a good railing. Hehe. He doesn't seem to be in a hurry to leave either. I gesture towards a less rocky part of the beach almost directly underneath the lighthouse. I always used to play down there during the summer. I'd wade in the water and pretend that a pirate ship was about to come sweep me off on a grand adventure. Alright, did I ever tell you the Kelpie story? I don't think so. Those things are horses, right? Well, they're shape-shifting water monsters, but they're usually depicted as horses, yeah. They take the form of normal-looking animals strolling by the water's edge. If someone tries to ride one, then they'll find that they can't let go of the Kelpie's mane, and the creature will drag them into the water, drowning them. Anyway, my grandfather was always getting mad about me running off to play on the beach, so he started telling me, "Yandere, you better not run off and play in the water alone. A Kelpie will come out and drag you into the sea." He even said that the Kelpie would eat me after. I couldn't sleep well for a week after he told me for the first time. And then when I was old enough to date, he told me, "Yandere, you better not run off with any young man you meet. He might be a Kelpie who's trying to drown you." By that time, I was a little too old to be swayed by that old story, but I still promised to let him check anyone I wanted to date. I'm glad I passed the inspection then. With flying colors. Even as I laugh, I can feel a hot sensation building in the back of my throat. Talking about my grandfather, I'm all too aware that he'll never tell me funny, awkward stories about Kelpies ever again. Anyway, it was so funny, wasn't he? My husband smiles gently. Your grandfather loved you very much. The comment takes me off guard. Usually when I was told the story, people said that my grandfather was amusing, or that he was a worrywart or old-fashioned. But now that Morgan mentions it in the end, my grandfather only said all those things because he cared about me. And he didn't want me to get hurt. I guess he did. I press my lips together and focus on the horizon, trying to suppress the tears burgeoning the corners of my eyes. We chat on the top of the lighthouse for around half an hour before it starts to drizzle, and we're forced to descend. Ow! My foot lands awkwardly on one of the steps and I tumble down the stairs. I'm barely able to catch myself on the railing, but on the way down, I inadvertently knock against one of the piles of boxes. It tips over, sending a jar of my grandmother's prized coin collection rolling all over the floorboards. Ah, shoot. I hurry to try and catch the scattering coins, but it's already far too late. Most of them have already fled to the shadowy corners of the room. I let out a deep breath and kneel on the floor to collect them. One by one. When Morgan steps up the stairs, he notices my plight and joins me. Back when we first moved to the island, my husband and I busied ourselves with organizing everything. We cleaned up all the broken junk and packed most of my grandparents' belongings into boxes. We decided to store a lot of the boxes in the lighthouse for the time being, where they wouldn't clutter the hallways or living room. We were planning to go through everything and make a catalogue of what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to give or throw away. But at some point, I couldn't bring myself to look at these things anymore. When I stooped to drop a pile of coins back into the jar, I spot something brown peeking out from one of the boxes. I pull the object out and hold it up to the light. It's a small penguin carefully carved from wood. Apparently, I had a penguin phase when I was younger that I can't seem to remember. My grandfather made this toy to help satisfy my obsession when he was still alive. He told me about how I would carry this little penguin everywhere, including the bathroom. This is just making me sad. The horror is just me being sad. He told me that if he was still alive to see his great-grandchildren, then he would make sure to make them toys too. Loss is a strange thing. At first, I'm smiling to myself, basking in the warm nostalgia of my memory. Then the sadness hits me. The realization that my grandfather will never make his great-grandchildren little wooden toys, that he'll never hug me or tell him that he loves me ever again. I suppose that realization is the wrong word for it. I know that my grandfather is dead, of course. I know that he has been for a long time. But that knowledge hurts, aching like a wound that never healed. It just burns, a gaping bleeding hole in my chest that can only be filled by the voice of a person who's already gone. I bend over, tears running down my face as I hold that toy to my chest. Crying should make you feel better. You're letting your emotions out, shedding tears like little droplets of sadness. But crying never makes me feel better. All it does is amplify the ache, watering my grief like an uncontrollable thorny weed. Yandere. I wipe my face and look up. My husband's standing over me. I choke down another sob and open my arms, getting ready for a hug. And then he speaks. Yandere, don't you think you should throw all these away? What? He sweeps his arm at the penguin in my arms and the boxes on the floor. You need to go through all your family's belongings, and yet a single doll brings you to tears. At the end of the day, everything in these boxes are just that, things. They won't bring your family back. All they'll do is remind you of what you lost. Are you going to continue living in the graveyard, filled with memories of the dead? Throwing these away would be the first step to finally moving on with your life. I don't understand what you're talking about. I would be so mad if I was crying over a memento my beloved grandfather left me, and instead of hugging me, Jared was like, you should throw that away. Oh my god. Morgan, you are so lucky you're not getting fucking throttled. I struggle to talk around the sobs clawing at my throat. You helped me put everything into these boxes. You said that every single one of these things is a precious keepsake, and I should think carefully about what I want to do with them. You said I shouldn't rush because I might throw away memories that I'll never get back. You said... I didn't say... He catches himself before he finishes the sentence. He sighs and pinches his brow. You said. Sure, I said that. But that was back then. Am I not allowed to change my mind? I said that back then when the grief was fresh and you needed compassion and understanding. And now over a year has passed and I'm saying something different. It's only been a year. My dude, it's been a year. You don't need kindness. You need someone to tell you that you can't continue like this. I don't know how to exist in a world when they're not here. You eat and you breathe and you keep walking. That's all you can do. Lying in bed, crying, letting yourself crumble, none of that will help you. Who is this? Who is this man I'm speaking to? This isn't my husband. My husband wouldn't say this. Even when he lost his patience with me a few days ago, he didn't sound this cruel. Holy shit! You said you wouldn't force me to cope with grief your way. You told me that you were sorry for what you said. That my grief is my own. That you shouldn't have asked me to cope with it in your way. Did you not mean that? Because you're doing that again right now. My voice trembles, but I try and keep my composure. Losing my emotions here would feel like losing the argument too. Well, I'm not forcing you to throw them away. I'm telling you that I think you should throw them away, but I'm not forcing you. We're partners. Should I not give you my opinion? I thought that's what you wanted. No more lies. What? I should, but not like this. Now then, do you want me to be softer? Gentler. I tried that. I said that you didn't need to rush. We could go through the boxes at your own pace. And now months have passed and all these boxes are still here, untouched, as if they're relics in a museum. My husband pauses. When he speaks again, the barbs in his voice have softened. Mementos should be a comfort. Why keep them if they bring you nothing but misery? This is definitely not the right time. I mean, like, sure, if that was his stance prior. But this is not his stance, like just a year ago, and a year is not a long time either. My dead family's belongings don't make me happy, so I should throw them all away. Thinking about my dead family makes me sad, so I should just forget about them. If you want to phrase it like that, yes, humans die. Your own life is short. You shouldn't spend it mourning people who have already long gone. Death is a greedy thing. Why give it more years of your life than necessary? Is that how you do it? You just forget things that upset you. Is that how you do it? That's how you're always so happy, so carefree. Because you just forget about things that upset you. If I die tomorrow, then you'll forget me and move on like nothing happened. Like I was worthless so you can be happy. That isn't what this is about and you know it. I fall silent. I don't have the energy to argue further. My husband waits for me to respond, but I busy myself putting the penguin back in the box and picking up the coins. So what should I do? I'm supposed to let you live in this graveyard of your dead family's things. And when you inevitably see those things, I need to stand and watch as you break down. I'll do this one. I didn't mean to burden him. So he felt burdened all this time. Deep in my heart, I knew that. Of course Morgan would hate living with someone like me. Someone this sad and miserable. Even if I tried not to bother him, he was still burdened by my presence. Sadness is like a disease poisoning the people around you. You don't need to do anything. You can go back. No, I didn't mean that I want to leave. If I said, you can go back. My husband opens his mouth as if he wants to say something, but then he closes it. He knows what I'm really trying to say. Leave. I don't want you here. He pauses before he descends the steps. You don't have to forget about them. I just don't want the memories to kill you. I'll see you back at the house. He didn't even help us up when we fell. Like down the stairs. And he didn't even ask if we were okay. The stairs creak and then he's gone. After I finish collecting the coins, I try and look through some of the boxes, but I feel like a puppet on a string going through the motions. I lie down in the window seat and curl myself into a ball. The cold light trickles into me, dripping onto the floor. The sickening feeling of loneliness and emptiness is familiar. After I published Moon Crossing, I was a sensation. Suddenly, dozens of people were all clamoring to be my friend. I never had a popular phase in high school, so the attention was overwhelming. Not all of them were simply looking for a social media picture. I made some genuine friends during that time. I spent long hours talking to them. I gave them advice and comforted them through their troubles. But as the years passed on and my mental health worsened, on the occasion I reached out to those friends. Sometimes they listened for a few minutes and offered a few sympathetic words before saying, "This is a little too heavy for me." Or, "Aren't you being paranoid?" Or, "Have you talked to a therapist?" Sometimes their voices got derisive. "At least you got published, not all of us are so lucky." Everyone goes through that. You're not special. That doesn't sound like a big deal. Sometimes they wouldn't respond at all. Guilt consumed me. They still had their own lives and troubles. Most of them were still working on their own debut books, struggling to get them published. They didn't have the time to deal with my problems. I was a nuisance. A crazy person who kept bothering them about nothing. It's not as if they understood me in any way. No one did. I closed my eyes. I imagined lying on a boat in the middle of the sea, gently drifting away. Away from my emotions and my problems. Away from my husband. I know how long I lie there frozen, listening to the raindrops. I'm not even sure if I'm awake the entire time or if I doze off. When I open my eyes again, it's still grey outside, but it seems to have stopped raining. The air outside is heavy and damp with the lingering traces of the drizzle. I have to tread carefully to avoid slipping on the mud-slicked path. By habit, I turn towards the house. But then I stop myself. I'm still not ready to face my husband, not with these murky feelings bubbling in my chest. Instead, I head in the opposite direction. It's been a while since I ventured to this side of the island. The island itself is fairly small and Morgan often takes long walks around the entire perimeter, but I usually just frequent the areas directly around the house. As I walk aimlessly, my thoughts wander back to my conversation with my husband. Does he even love me? Why would you say that to someone you love? When you see someone you love grieving, wouldn't you want to comfort them? You would try to understand their pain. Dude, if I was crying and I opened my arms for a hug and my spouse didn't give me a hug but reprimanded me, I think I would just simply pass away. You wouldn't tell them to throw their memories of their loved ones so that they can stop being sad. In the end, did Morgan ever love me? Maybe he only liked me because I was a fan of his work. And then he liked me because I was famous. And after that he liked me because I made money. If he loved me, if he truly loved me, then he would have been kinder. He would have hugged me and told me it was gonna be alright. Ow! In my stupor, I've accidentally stepped off the path. The next moment, I'm tumbling down the embankment, a mess of flailing limbs. Down and down I go, scrabbling at wet sand and clumps of grass until I finally smack against a large rock. Uh-oh! I lie shivering on the ground face down, still reeling from my unexpected fall. I don't think I was seriously injured. There's no sharp pain, just a dull throbbing all over my body. I put my hand on the rock and drag myself to my feet. Except that it's not a rock. It's too smooth to be a rock. Is that the boat? Is that the— Oh no, it's the boat. I examined the object more closely. It's flat and large, covered with a mess of tree branches, dried grass and seaweed. Little spots of white peek through the disguise. I wipe away the covering. I can't breathe. A chill falls over me, a freezing sensation that squeezes the breath from my lungs. It's the boat. Why is the boat here? It was swept out to sea. It should be out there floating in the middle of the ocean. Oh hell no, get out of this island right now. But it's not. It's here, on the shore, covered in branches and seaweed. Imagine if actual Morgan's body's in the boat, as if someone was hiding it, and there's only one other person on this island who could have done that. But why? Why would Morgan lie about this? Why would he try to hide the boat from me? Because he doesn't want me to go out onto the water? Because he wants to keep me on this island? Why? No matter how hard I think about it, I can't come up with any answers. No reasons to why Morgan would hide something this important from me. I don't know what to do. As I step up to the worn-looking wooden door to the cottage, I pause. It doesn't feel like I'm returning home. The air feels heavy and thick with uncertainty sticking to my skin as I try to wade through it. I hold my breath and open the door. What happened? As soon as I hear my husband's sharp tone, I instinctively take a step back, accidentally banging my head against the front door. Does he know I'm aware of his lies? Did he find out I know about the boat? How? Did he follow me? Morgan looks me up and down, at my bedraggled appearance, at the dirt and sand and mud streaked over my coat, at the dead grass stuck to my clothes. I suddenly remember the tumble I took down the embankment. Why is he not asking us if we're okay? Why is our husband not asking if we're alright? You should clean yourself up. A mixture of relief and bitterness fills my chest. On one hand, I'm glad he doesn't seem to know that I found the boat, yet a chill radiates from him, making me shiver. I'm usually not clumsy, but on the rare occasion when I do take a tumble, he always runs to fetch the medical supplies. But now he just casts one glance at me before returning his attention to the dark green book in his hand, his expression coolly apathetic. I brush off the sand and grass from my clothes. As I reach out to take off my jacket, I wince. My left palm is covered in a myriad of scratches and scrapes. I must have tried to brace myself against the ground as I fell. It is hurting me. Like, why is he so uncaring now? Was it because we had confronted him about the pills? Because like just yesterday he was like making us soup and looking after us and getting us to paint with him? Like, what the hell is happening? After making sure I won't track dirt inside, I fetched some medical supplies from the bathroom. I slink past Morgan to the kitchen, sitting at the table. I busy myself with cleaning my wound. Should I ask him? I should, and yet I have no idea what he'll say. What could he even say? There's no reasonable explanation for what he did. Why did he lie? I don't understand why he lied. I curse. It's difficult to bandage my palm one-handed. Give that to me. I jump as Morgan appears over my shoulder. He slides into my seat across from me and takes the bandage. He's uncharacteristically silent, a sullen expression on his face. Still, his movements are gentle and careful. My husband's sudden kindness puts a damper on the anger in my chest, reducing it to a smolder. I'm almost angrier at myself for being so easily swayed by his warmth. Maybe I was mistaken. Is it possible that it wasn't him? Did someone else hide the boat? But there's no one else on this island. Could the boat have been carried there by the waves? That can't be, it was too far from the shoreline and had been meticulously, deliberately disguised. Also, how does he have strength to pull a boat like that far up onto the shoreline by himself? I don't know, there's so many theories as to what he could be right now. Has he been replaced? Has he been possessed? Has there never actually been a husband at all and this is just an entity planting memories in our head? Is there like different personalities inside him? Like what's going on? No. I try to run through all the possibilities and there's only one conclusion. My husband knew where the boat was. Took it and hid it where I couldn't find it, and then he lied to me. I bite my lip as I stare down at Morgan's blonde head bobbing as he applies some ointment to my left palm. But why? I don't understand why. I don't want to be hateful. I don't want to be hateful yet. I want to find out what's happening but be empathetic about it. He probably had a reason for it. I still don't know why he did it, but he probably had a good reason for it. Yet he has lied multiple times now. I need to be careful about trusting him. I bite my lip. Ask about the boat. Morgan. He continues applying ointment without looking up. I found the boat. He pauses but doesn't look up. You did? That's great. Where'd you find it? Hidden on the shore under some branches and seaweed. You hid it from me. Why? He looks up. His eyes are so... Why are they so... I wake with a start. I'm sitting in front of my desk. My computer is open to a blank document. What happened? What the hell? Have you realized that every single time something has gone wrong, we go to sleep and then we wake up? Well, that's right. My foggy mind slowly fills the cracks. After Morgan and I fought, I found that he had hidden something from me. That's right, it was the boat. Then I came back and I must have kept quiet to avoid arousing his suspicion. And I came upstairs to get away from him and I tried to write. I covered my face with my hands trying to puzzle out my conflicted thoughts. When my husband calls me downstairs, I head down. Morgan makes one of my favorite stews for dinner, but it tastes like glue. I shovel the food in my mouth as I observe the man sitting across the table. He certainly looks like my husband. He has the same eyes, the same mouth, the same easy laugh. Yet I know that there's a distinct strangeness about him. Something odd about the way he talks and moves. He doesn't have the familiar warmth that I've grown so fond of. Maybe this man I've known for 12 years was never the man I thought he was. I consider asking him about the boat again, but my words turn to ash in my mouth. I thought that Morgan was different, that he didn't lie, that we're always honest with each other, but I now know that he does. He lies without batting an eyelash. What else could he be lying about? Maybe he's been doing it this entire time and I didn't even know. Also, you know what was funny? The game started on day 2. It didn't start day 1, it started day 2. I feel like there's a reason as to why we haven't encountered day 1 yet. And also, the writer's story about like time traveling and hopping back and forth in the timeline, I wonder if there's any significance to that. Did our husband actually die and we're time hopping to try and bring him back, but we messed up? And now we're actually in a different timeline with like a version of our husband who's still alive, but because he's not actually our original husband, he acts different? I don't know, there's so many possibilities. My mind wanders to that memory from back in college, when I overheard him gossiping about me with his classmates. It's still sharp, aching in the back of my skull. He let them talk so poorly about me, gloated about dating a famous author. Then when I came into the room, he pretended that nothing had ever happened. I don't think he gloated. I should have known back then. Maybe he's been complaining about me to his friends this entire time, telling them what a mental wreck I am, moaning about how much he wants to leave the island, saying that at the very least I have money, otherwise he'd never stay married to someone like me. It's happened before. I found out in my early 20s one of my best friends since high school told a gossip magazine all about my mental health struggles. Everything I had confided to her was laid out like a feast for the masses to devour. When I confronted her, she told me, "You never told me you wanted to keep that stuff a secret." She even insisted that she did me a favor by spreading awareness about my troubles. People are liars, that's just the way things are. Morgan was never a saint that somehow stood above the rest. Even if I confront him, there would be no point. He'll deny it. He'll twist the truth to suit his own narrative. So I stay silent. Maybe if I pretend everything's fine, then it really will be fine. After dinner, I help Morgan with the dishes as I usually do. Maybe if I pretend that everything is normal, then everything really will be normal. Somehow, reality would twist in on itself like a pretzel, and I can forget my husband's deceit. Actually wild. Maybe if I pretend, then I can trust him again. Oh, my sleeves fell down. Will you help me roll them up? Sure. My husband shakes the excess bubbles and water from his hands before lifting them, giving me access to his sleeves. I roll up the cuffs to his elbow, tucking them in tightly so they won't come undone. Is something the matter? I trace my fingers along Morgan's forearm. The pale, flawlessly smooth flesh. It feels unnatural to the touch, like a stone rubbed smooth by the movement of the tides. Where is it? I remember it well. Morgan always rolls his sleeves up, even when he's not painting, giving me a good view of the jagged line of the flesh running under the underside of his forearm. Oh no! Okay, replacement theory or different timeline theory? Over the years it has whitened, losing its original puckered pink appearance, but it's still noticeable, lifted from the rest of his skin like a small ridge across a flat plane. Oh my god, he's a kelpie. He got the scar when we visited a particularly rocky beach during our senior year of high school. He was walking ahead of me when his sneakers slipped on the rocks and underneath which was slick with rain and seawater. He threw his hand out to catch himself and hit a jagged stone, tearing a gash in his arm that needed 22 stitches. But now that scar is gone, I stare at his arm, my eyes narrowing as if the blemish is hiding, waiting for me to look closer. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Did you guys see that? I reach up to lift his anchor bracelet, trying to get a better look, and he jerks away. I jolt at the sudden movement, which sends a bolt of fear through my nerves. My husband holds his arm against his chest almost protectively. His voice is calm, but underneath the casual composure there's an undercurrent of wariness. Seriously, is something wrong? No, I just spaced out for a second. I step back and pick up my dish towel again. Morgan raises an eyebrow, but returns to the dishes without inquiring further. What if the reason we didn't see day one is because in day one we actually killed the original Morgan in our fit, and now he's been replaced? Oh my god, my mind is like spinning. I take a plate from the rack and furiously scrub it, hoping I'll be able to scrub away my disquietude. For a moment I'm tempted to ask, where did your scar go, before I realize how insane that sounds. But where did the scar go? Scars don't disappear all of a sudden. I see Morgan every day. It always stands out to me, a mark as clear as daylight on his skin. Why can't I see it? Here, my husband's pointing a knife at me. What the hell? That? Did we actually kill him? I step back, my eyes widening in shock as they trace along the silver metal. This is the last one. Can you dry it? He gives the blade a little shake, droplets of water falling onto the floorboards. Of course, he doesn't like to put knives into the dish rack. What was I thinking? That Morgan was gonna stab me or something. Yeah. I carefully accept the knife. I try and focus on my task, but my eyes wander from the water-streaked metal to the blonde man cleaning the sink, and the flawless pale skin on the underside of his forearm. I almost want to ask Morgan about it, but what would I say? What happened to your scar? It's not as if he'll say, oh, I took it off for a minute. It's right here before taking it out of his pocket. Why is that line so funny to me? Or maybe... I gaze at the blade in my hands, a light catching on the dull metal surface. My sleeves are pulled up to the elbow and I hold my own forearm up, scrutinizing my own skin. Hey, if this was his... Hey. My shoulders tense and look towards my husband, who returns a slightly exasperated expression. What are you doing? Nothing. He doesn't seem convinced. But he just gives me one more suspicious glance before returning to scrubbing the sink. My breath catches in my throat. What am I thinking? I shake off the thoughts that crept into my head and shove the knife back into the knife block as if it scolded me. I'm heading up. I avert my gaze. And I'm planning to write tonight, so there isn't a single trace of confusion in his face. I understand. I'll sleep in the guest bedroom. His smile is warm and faint like the dying light of the summer sun. Good night. Sleep well. I turn and hurry out of the kitchen. I climb the stairs 2 at a time, keeping my arms firmly crossed. When I reach my room, I dart inside, shutting the door and pressing my back against the wood before locking it. As I lie in the dark, drifting between sleep and wakefulness, a persistent thought invades my mind. If I dig that blade into his arm and carve apart the flesh, will I find his scar underneath? 16 months ago. White. Pure white. In some instances, this pure white field would be beautiful, an ocean of untapped possibility, waiting for the first brushstroke on the canvas. But that emptiness suffocates me, as if I'm trapped in a void of space waiting for my brain to rot. The only mark on the page is a dark vertical line fading in and out, taunting me as it stays in place. A constant reminder that I'm still standing at the starting line. I tap my fingers on the keys, hoping that the memory muscle might magically conjure words in my brain. It doesn't. A heavy hand rests on my shoulder. How's the writing going? Did you figure out how you can structure the second act? What does it look like? The words grate my eardrums as they leave my lips. They're more bitter than I intended, but my patience has been worn too thin for Morgan's well-meaning questions. Isn't it obvious that I haven't written a single thing since I sat at my desk 2 hours ago? My husband leans in closer to the screen, pretending to scrutinize the completely blank document. The faint citrus scent of the household cleaner clings to his clothes. It looks like you've been trying hard and the ideas just aren't coming right now. My mouth tightens. Are you upset? Instead of marrying a prodigy novelist, you end up with a washed-up has-been whose first book was a friggin' fluke. I bet you regret it. We moved in together right after college and we got married a few months later. It was my idea. We'd been dating for almost 6 years at that point. There was no point in waiting any longer. At least that's what I told myself. In reality, I was scared. Morgan was a butterfly about to flit to the outside world, where he would find out that I was nothing more than a moth. He would discover a dozen butterflies far more beautiful than me, and he would never return. I wanted to reach my hand out, hoping that he would land on my finger before he had a chance to fly away. To my surprise, he didn't disagree. He didn't say it was too soon. He was overjoyed. Even before he said yes, he smothered my face with kisses and hugged me so tight I thought that my lungs would collapse. Trapped in his embrace, a bitter feeling nagged in the back of my mind. I couldn't help but feel like I was tricking him in some way. Still, it was right. I decided I didn't have the pressure of schoolwork hanging over my head anymore. I would release another novel, one that would sell even better than the first. Morgan would be able to flaunt me to his friends and family like a trophy that he had won. He'd be proud of me. He'd be proud of us. Except that didn't happen. The success of my first release weighed heavily on me. The sequel had to be just as good, if not better than Moon Crossing. For another 2 years, I struggled to write anything, and when I did manage to publish the second book, the reception was mainly positive, but it didn't sell nearly as many copies as my debut. Worse, the sequel garnered something new. A community of people who avidly despised my new work. There were videos dedicated to tearing apart the world building and the characters. Forums centered around posting excerpts of my prose to mock. After a couple of months, I stopped looking at the feedback online. Every comment and review stabbed me in the gut, the words as sharp as blades. Boring, predictable, amateur, disappointing. After that, whenever I went to my computer trying to write the final book in the Moon Crossing trilogy, the words trickled out. All I could hear were those harsh comments clawing at my eardrums, and all I could see on the page were flaws. While I couldn't continue my main series, I started writing other books. A prequel, a spin-off centered around one of the popular side characters. I even branched out to different settings and genres. They all sold a fraction of my debut, but at the very least I was still writing. Yet this just earned me fresh hate, even louder than before. Why aren't you continuing the Moon Crossing trilogy? My readers demanded. They called me lazy and greedy. Oh, this is so sad. She doesn't know how to finish what she's written. She's got her money, so she doesn't care about the series anymore. What a waste. As the backlash grew, I couldn't finish a single book, let alone the last entry of the Moon Crossing trilogy. The characters I once loved seemed so childish and simplistic. The world building that I had gushed about proudly to Morgan was suddenly unnecessarily convoluted. Writing, which at one brought me joy, now filled me with dread. And now I haven't released a single book in over 2 years. My gaze wanders to my husband, studying his face, searching for the inevitable signs of frustration and impatience. His eyes are as soft as ever. He's a good actor. I look away. I'm sorry, I just know that it looks like I'm not taking this very seriously, but I'm trying. It's just the excuses shrivel and fall uselessly from my lips. You don't need to apologize. You don't owe me anything. But we can't rely on sales of Moon Crossing forever. And sales are a fraction of what it used to sell. If we're gonna have steady income, I need to release more books. Don't worry about that. We have more than enough savings, at least to last a few years. If worse comes to worse, I'll get another job. I've gotten a couple offers for illustrating children's books, and I could always teach. We'll figure it out. Still, I know it's disappointing. I swallow the apology, and it leaves a large lump in my throat. He squeezes my shoulder reassuringly. I married you because I love you. That will never change, even if you never release another book. You always look the happiest when you're writing. I just want you to be able to enjoy it again. I don't write for fun. I write because it's my job. That is so sad. As someone who's also, like, a creator for a job, my god, you really need to do things that you love. I know that, but you write something better when you're enjoying yourself, right? I'm aware that he means well. Even so, the comment just drives another stake into my gut. So the reason I've only been able to write shit for years is because I haven't been enjoying myself. I don't love my craft enough to make anything good. My husband presses a kiss against my temple, but the gesture just makes me feel more annoyed. Irritated that I'm taking this seriously while he's playing around. Come on, why don't you relax for a bit? You've been staring at the screen for hours. We can bake something or watch a show. I'm sure that taking a break will get the creative juices flowing again. That's what I always do when I hit a block with my painting. That's what he does? What is that supposed to mean? Oh no, I definitely have some trauma that I need to work through. Something cracks inside of me. Why is he lecturing me? Telling me about what he does? As if his career trajectory is some blueprint for success. Sure, Morgan sells his paintings, but I'm still responsible for majority of our income. If we weren't married, he'd probably be able to barely afford a cheap studio apartment and cup noodles. Okay, that's really mean. That's because he'd never been in it for the money or attention. In high school, I idolized him so much for that. He never cared about what people thought. He created because he wanted to create. I was young then. I didn't know how the world worked. You can't make art just because you want to. You need the money and the fame. You have to put food on the table, you have to buy and make things that people will want to buy. It's a hard pill to swallow, but that's the reality of art. Morgan never went the distance. He just painted whatever he wanted without worrying about whether it would go for a good price or if it would even sell at all. He never did what was needed in order to make painting his career. He never needed to because he left things to me instead. He doesn't have a publisher breathing down his neck. He doesn't have reviewers waiting in the wings, ready to rip his work to shreds before the books even hit the store shelves. He doesn't have fans waiting for him to catch lightning in a bottle for a second time. Their expectations dropping lower and lower with each new release. He only has his paints and his canvas. He doesn't have to worry about anyone's expectations because no one expects anything from him. That's what you do? Why are you lecturing me about what you do? What do you know? You never sold anything for more than a few grand. You don't have people expecting your next work to sell millions of copies. I can't do what you do if I want to be successful. Oh, ouch. He looks so sad. For a moment, my husband stares at me, eyes wide, utterly dumbstruck. No anger, no shame, no indignation. Only shock. As silence fills the room, it drapes over me, sticky and sickening, heavy with discomfort and guilt. Apologize. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I wish that I could take it all back, that I could pull out my own tongue so that I can't spew poison. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My words feel so hollow, tumbling out of my mouth like rotten fruit. I feel like a terrible person. Morgan's face twitches for a second as if someone is trying to pull the corners of his mouth upward. When he finally smiles, it looks strained, his voice hoarse. It's alright. I understand you're frustrated. You didn't mean it. I don't know. Whether it was an accident or not, it still hurt. That's not true. I did mean it. I just wish I could say that my frustration controlled my tongue, conjuring these foul lies that have nothing to do with how I really feel. But no, those are my real feelings. Feelings that have been simmering inside me like a pot of black sludge. Feelings that I wish I could erase because I don't want to feel like this about my husband whom I love so much. And you're right, we have different creative processes. What works for me might not work for you. I shouldn't try to force my solutions onto you. But he wasn't forcing, he was trying to help. He was only suggesting. He loops an arm around my shoulders and squeezes me in kind of a half hug. It feels so insincere. Part of me wants to scold him, to say that he doesn't always have to be so understanding, so conciliatory. I hurt him. I don't want him to smile and forgive me pretending that nothing happened. I don't want him to keep up the facade as if I'm a work colleague that he's forced to tolerate. I want him to get sad and bitter and angry. I want him to yell, to scream, to tell me how horribly I treated him, how I'm being full of myself, how he deserves to be treated with respect. I want him to hurt me back. But the thought also terrifies me, since if Morgan does that, I have the feeling that something will break. Some small fragile thing that's keeping our relationship balanced. This is not gonna end up well. It will shatter and everything will come crashing down. After that, even if we do manage to put all of it back together, it will be cracked with the missing pieces. So I seal my lips shut and nod. Because even if our relationship has artificially slathered in the gaps, gluing everything together at least it's whole, I'll give you some breathing room so that you can work. I'll be in my studio if you need me. He squeezes my shoulder again, the door shuts with a soft thud. I place my fingers on the keys, staring at the blank page, but my mind is now awash with thoughts of the conversation I just had with my husband. A strange mixture of emotions boils in my stomach. Regret at how I treated Morgan and irritation. Now I'm too distracted to work properly. A few minutes later, a sharp buzz jolts me out of my reverie. My phone vibrates insistently on the desk next to my computer. I curse. Yet another distraction. Time to turn your phone off. I pick up the phone. I don't recognize the number. Hello? Hello? Is this Mrs. Winters? Yes, that's me. I have news regarding your family. There was an accident. Oh, that's terrible. The door opens with a soft creak. The man steps into the darkened room. He approaches the bed, observing the person sleeping there. Her chest rises and falls with a faint, steady rhythm. He looks around, his cold eyes effortlessly piercing the dark, his gaze landing on the person lying in the bed. He sits on the edge of the mattress. It dips gently under his weight, but the person sleeping there doesn't stir. He then raises the item grasped in his hand. Morgan, what are you doing with that? Moonlight catches on the edge of the knife. He places the blade just underneath the person's chin, against her throat, as she breathes. Her skin presses into the weapon, bending around the unyielding metal. Oh no! If he flicks his wrist, then the blade would slice through her carotid, sending gushes of warm blood out like spurts from a malfunctioning water fountain. In a few minutes, the mattress will be soaked through and the person will be nothing more than a cold body. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he merely waits, watching the person's chest rise and fall. Come on, Morgan. You don't want this, do you? There's another voice. Stop me. I think possession theory might be winning. The man looks down. He traces the fingers of his free hand along his collarbone, feeling the faint pulse of his heartbeat. He can't keep himself from chuckling, even with the risk of waking the person lying in bed. So in the end, is this all your love was worth? just like the rest of them. Satisfied, the man removes the blade from the person's neck and stands. He learned what he needs to know. He doesn't need to do anything further tonight. But as for the next few days, the door shuts. My eyes open a crack, trembling like a butterfly's wings. Underneath the covers, I grasp my forearms to keep them from shaking as I scan the shadows around the room, making sure that the man is gone. As soon as I'm certain that I'm alone, I leap out of bed. My quivering legs have barely the strength to make it to the door. I lock it before slumping against the wall. My hand hovers over my throat. I can still feel the cold metal that was pressed against my skin a mere minutes earlier. Did my husband just try to kill me? That's so messed up. Now I'm very, very certain that something is possessing him. And that's the end of the demo for My Husband is a Stranger. That was so good and so sad. I have a very, very big love for dark romance and yandere stories that also incorporate grief. Because as you know, I wrote He's Just Away, and that's also one that deals with themes of grief after your husband has passed away and you replace him with an android replica that happens to turn obsessive and dangerous. I think exploring these themes in a safe format of fiction can also be a way of, I guess, processing certain feelings or topics that we don't often get to talk about in a really, really respectful and also safe way. And I think Chatter has done a wonderful job here at highlighting that. A lot of the topics in My Husband is a Stranger are not things that people would typically feel comfortable talking about. However, she explores them in a very respectful and very safe way using two characters that are honestly very, very interesting and very likable. I think it's incredibly sad. I don't think anyone is truly a bad person in this, although an argument could be potentially made for replacement Morgan, which I'll delve into a little bit later. But I think despite MC and Morgan both lashing out at each other, I don't think they're bad people. I think they have insecurities and traumas that they have yet to deal with, and they haven't communicated. It's really, really sad seeing that they're unable to work together to get through that. I think that their reactions, first and foremost, are very human. When there's conflict, when you are grieving, it can be very ugly and very, very hurtful, like the things that you say to the people that you're supposed to love. However, the reason as to why I don't think they're a bad person is because immediately after they say what they said, they apologize and they feel guilt and regret afterwards. And if you truly were a bad person, you wouldn't be feeling that way. It's just really upsetting seeing two people fighting not just each other, but also themselves, and being unable to reconcile because of it. However, there is also something a bit more sinister that's going on in the background, right? Because you had a fight with Morgan, he goes missing, and he starts doing really weird things. He's throwing away your medicine, he's hidden the boat, he's lying to you, he doesn't ask if you're okay when you get hurt, he's callous about you losing your family. And also, he seems to be talking to someone else that isn't you. When in the painting room, he was speaking to someone. And also, when he was holding the knife to you, someone was talking to him, telling him to stop them. Not to mention that his scar is missing on his forearm as well. And something is up with the bracelet that is around his wrist. I think there are many, many theories that I kind of dipped into when I was playing through this. Either you killed Morgan on day one, and that's why we don't see day one yet, and this is a ghost. Or Morgan went for a walk to clear his head, was taken by a Kelpie and is now being replaced by a Kelpie. Or Morgan has been replaced by something else, or Morgan has been possessed by something. You might have hurt Morgan or something happened to Morgan, and in your regret, you are jumping timelines just like in the story that you wrote, and you have ended up in a different timeline with a different Morgan, which is why he's behaving differently to the one that you normally know, because he's not exactly the same. But there's a lot of different theories that I've been thinking of, and they're all so incredibly interesting, and I think it's wonderful how Chatter has built the narrative in such a way that's very, very slowly ramping up to something that is going to, I think, culminate in a very, very scary reveal, and also be very tragic as well, which I am very excited for. I like my grief. I like my horror and my grief. I feel like these two themes go hand in hand absolutely beautifully, and I think this visual novel was incredibly beautiful. It explored themes of mental health and trauma incredibly well. Conflict between two people who are supposed to love each other was portrayed absolutely beautifully and just hauntingly heartbreaking as well. The art, as per usual, absolutely gorgeous. The writing and the prose is gorgeous as well. Chatter is a very, very talented individual. Like, I played their other games, Mind, last year when I was on stream, and that one was wonderful. The concept that the Yandere presented in that one as well was also very unique and very, very special, so I highly recommend you guys checking that out too. But thank you so much for watching my playthrough of My Husband is a Stranger. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, and if you guys like this, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you miss out on the next part. And also, if you guys want exclusive content from me, such as exclusive playthroughs, uncut reactions to spicy scenes and visual novels, and spicy art that I do, along with previews of games that I'm currently making, feel free to check out my Patreon, link is in the description box below. But thank you so much for your support as always, and until the next fictional man, take care.